Hello again, folks. Welcome to the channel. DJ here as usual. DJ DH from Eclectic. So here I am, and I'm going to talk to you about the Red Cross. Yes, the Red Cross, that charitable organisation that provides first aid and other charitable deeds. But are they really looking after the British community? Now, when I say the British community, I'm not just talking about the English. I'm talking about everybody who's a legitimate member of the British, Scotland, Wales, England, and Northern Ireland, Isle of Man, Jersey, Guernsey, Sark. Are they looking after us all? Let's see. Now, the charitable organisation is operating on grants and charitable contributions, and it's known as the Red Cross, and it's under fire for aiding and abetting immigration into the UK through its scheme of facilitating family unifications. Now that sounds all well and good, doesn't it? Getting families back together. But these are immigrants, right? Now, bear in mind, the Red Cross charity searches for and finds relatives of recent immigrants to Britain in their home countries, and as Ali Shepherd, now she's the head of the refugee support at British Red Cross, describes their proud history of facilitating reunification, it's a long word, noting the majority of cases we support are to reunite children with their parents. So, now, let's get this straight. I'm going through this too fast, aren't I? Let's start again. Ellie Shepherd is head of the refugee support at the British Red Cross. And she describes their proud history of facilitating reunification, noting the majority, now get this, the majority of cases we support, that's the Red Cross, not me, are to reunite children with their parents. Now, we're talking about immigrants already in Britain, and the Red Cross reunites them with their children. They came over on the boats and they left their children in a conflict zone. Oh, we're escaping for safety, but we've left our wives and we've left our children in danger in a conflict zone. What sort of man leaves his children and his wife to save himself? Isn't it worrying that these people are those sort of people? So the Red Cross, via Miss Shepherd, Ellie Shepherd, those coming to Britain are mainly young males who have abandoned their wives and children in order to secure safety for themselves or to secure a free ride on the back of the British taxpayer. So it's either a conflict zone or economic migrants. After which the Red Cross facilitate bringing over their family, who, if the immigrant is to be believed, were left to fend alone with their children in a hostile environment. Is that the true picture of a family man? I think not. Government data reveals a dramatic surge in family reunion applications. Wow, what a blow, eh? Let me read that again. Government data reveals a dramatic surge in family reunion applications, with successful visa grants jumping from 4,310 last year up to March 2023 to 20,592 by March this year, 2025, 6 months after the Labour government came in. These figures represent a 5-fold increase over 3 years. contributing to massive mounting pressure on local housing resources. The Labour Party controlled government here in Britain is obviously being seen as a soft touch. Miss Shepherd, remember her, Ellie Shepherd, emphasises the programme's humanitarian impact. We've worked with mothers who have been separated from their babies, husbands who haven't seen their wives for years, and children desperate to reunite with their siblings. It's certainly a disgrace, if it's true. But who is it, if they are family orientated, who would abandon their babies, their children and their wives? A disgrace in no uncertain manner. You've got to admit it. They abandon their babies, according to Red Cross, according to Ellie Shepherd, who's head of their refugee programme, who brings them in. That they came here, the young men came over here on the boats, and they abandoned their babies. They abandoned their children. They abandoned their wives. Again, as Miss Shepherd admits and even seemingly boasts, the organisation's refugee support extends beyond flight costs. Oh yes, not only do they pay for their airplane flights, they also pay to include tracing their separated family members in conflict zones. So she admits they're looking for their family members, their babies that have been abandoned, in conflict zones. So these young men escaped thinking only of themselves, not of their wives, not of their children, not even of their babies. Here we have it again. Miss Shepherd claims those wives and children, even babies, are abandoned in a conflict zone. But that doesn't prevent the Red Cross from facilitating, at taxpayers' expense, your expenses, my expenses, reuniting abandoned families with their husbands and children, of whom he abandoned to save himself. Of course, that evil organisation, the United Nations, is involved too. The UN's always involved, isn't it? The Red Cross operates through established United Nations channels. Surprise, surprise. But what do you think? Let's put it over to you. What do you think? Does the Red Cross practice encourage illegal immigration or provide essential humanitarian support through official channels? Now, before you answer that, and I do ask you to answer it, and I would love to read your comments on this, so please do comment. But before you do comment, let's look at things. The local councils are already struggling with providing temporary single accommodation for these immigrants, these male immigrants. But when families are reunited in Britain, the obligation upon them, on the local councils, is to provide suitable housing for immigrant families. And it falls heavily upon them. With long housing waiting lists for local tax-paying families, the list grows even longer with the addition of immigrant families, often who are not conversant in the English language, putting further strain on the National Health Service and, of course, the limited resources of the local schools, who not only have to teach the larger classes, but separate classes to teach the children how to speak and read English. Don't forget that. Extra resources needed to provide translators, to provide books with translation books, to teach them how to write in English, to teach them how to understand what they're writing, to teach them how to communicate in English, to teach them they can communicate in English so they can talk to a doctor, talk to a teacher, talk to a policeman, talk to a council worker, to talk to the local children. It goes on and on and on. Now, once these individuals, these young men that come over, receive refugee status, they must leave the taxpayer-funded accommodation within 28 days and can immediately apply for family reunification. Yes, unlike standard visa requirements, family reunion applicants face no obligations to demonstrate adequate accommodation. They have no obligation to demonstrate they've got adequate accommodation. They have no obligation to establish they've got financial resources to keep them. They have no obligation to establish that they've got an English language proficiency. But recipients can access universal credit and housing benefits upon arrival. And that's according to immigration regulations. So they've got to leave taxpayer-funded accommodation, but it's not true. They have to leave in 28 days, yes, but then they claim housing benefits to pay for rent in private accommodation or council accommodation, social housing. They immediately get access to the National Health Service, the hospitals, the doctors. Local authorities report significant pressure on housing services as refugee families require larger accommodation than single occupants. Of course, a single occupant male can share accommodation, can go into a single room accommodation, but a family can't. Now, the local government association represents 317 English councils, and they've warned that asylum and resettlement processes affect councils' ability to secure temporary housing amid broader system constraints, and we've just spoke of them, haven't we? The schools, the doctors, the hospitals. A council housing officer, unnamed, described handling up to 2 refugee families every month who arrive through charitable assistance programs by Red Cross. Half, or rather 99% of the time, the refugees don't work, don't speak English, and don't have any intentions of working, this official said. Families typically include 4 to 6 children. So suddenly you've got 6 children and a wife come over, 7 different mouths to feed, 7 different bodies to house, 8 with the father. Oh, it blows my mind, it really does. The families include 4 to 5, 6 children, necessitating hotel or private rental accommodation, a public expense, your expense, my expense, until suitable properties become available. A process, this official said, potentially spanning years. The officer added, everyone is going mad about illegal immigrants. But an illegal migrant is only one person. By the time the Red Cross is finished with them, it's a family. Now I asked you for your comments. Now I've filled you in on what the councils are suffering. Now I've filled you in on what we're paying for. Now I've filled you in with the fact that these young men are coming over and then claiming reunification with their families a month, 2, 3, 4, 5 months later. Where did they abandon their families? If it was in a conflict zone, how could they have left their families, their children, their babies, their wives at the mercy of violence, rape, torture, abduction? It doesn't add up. If it's true, then these men are not worth helping. They've abandoned their families with no worry of what's happening to them. And then they say, oh, it's up to the British people to bring my family over to me. I left them in a conflict zone, but it's up to Britain's people, the taxpayers, to bring them over. your comments, please. Let me. I can't. This is happening to me a lot now. The news is so despairing, that I can't continue. So please let me have your comments. Press that like button if you want to receive more of these, and subscribe. It doesn't cost you a penny, nor a cent, not even a rupee. It's totally free to subscribe. Press that subscribe button. It encourages me to look these stories and open it up to your comments and open it up to your advice. So until the next one, I wish you a good day and I wish you safe. So until the next one, probably this afternoon. So bye for now. Bye.